and we're all going to be able to go.
Let's do it.
Okay, we'll handle it.
It's not very historically accurate, but
Okay, well, you can't do a Hamilton show one man, so
no way.
we have to go see it.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So we got everyone's assignment. I want a separate sheet. I don't want that. This is fine. Okay, you did this.
I wrote it on paper,
Yeah. So. There's almost no room there, so. All right, so let's take out the thing on how to write an essay, and also take out your essay questions. Let's very briefly talk about it before we get to the rap battle. Yeah, we're gonna. And you know my feeling about rats. Yabo! Yes. Oh, you skipped yesterday? Who else was?
Yeah.
Whatever you want me to do. Whatever. You're on what?
You don't see truck as I was.
Did you bring me anything? Did you bring me a rock from the river?
No.
Okay, well, I don't believe it was this. From now on, when you're gone, I want evidence.
Okay, I will bring you a rock.
Okay, so take out your essay questions and how to write an essay. Let's kind of finish that up. So I almost got done. And I showed you an outline. Didn't I show you the dogs?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, yes.
So, and don't forget, you're going to pick one of the three essays, and you're going to make a diorama, and then you can bring an outline, thesis statement, and brainstorm list. Who else needs one? You're right, aren't you? Sorry, diorama. You're going to make an exact replica of your essay with little clay figures. Cool. So, I gotta clean my desk. All right. So, here's my sound effects. So this is the first one I showed you. These are all on my webpage. If you go to my webpage and go to the Partridge Post, go to AP US History, it'll say how to write a DBQ. And in it, I have these sample outlines, I have other sample outlines, other sample thesis statements. I have a sample essay in there, so you can look at it on your own. But this is the one I showed you, but dogs are the best pet, correct? You have to evaluate that statement. So you come up with a brainstorm list where you put everything you can down there, from dog driving to slavery. You have all, obviously I was fooling around, but, and then my thesis statement. So I have a position that I mentioned, dogs. I take a position about dogs and cats. By the way, what do we call that? What do I get with my little code letters? X. George Washington. And that was a basketball player when I was a senior in basketball. George Washington. Next. What is the position I'm taking? Which is pet cats are better. And what are my blueprint? Dogs have liabilities, intelligence, and independence. And those would be the three topic, they'll be the topic sentence of your body paragraphs, or my body paragraph, not yours. And easy to follow, know exactly where I'm going. And one thing about this, when you write it, you have to have 2 to 3 good factual examples. People, events, places, real things. And that's why you do the brainstorm list. Take things from the brainstorm list, and that will be your evidence. 1 or 2 sentences explain what it is and to give an example, and then relate it back to the thesis. But the great thing about doing a thesis this way, your topic sentence is in the thesis. So just relate it back to the topic sentence. And then you show as the College Board, I don't know why I'm quoting that, they call that complete understanding. Yeah.
So, like, what do you want for like the introduction?
Well, let me talk about introduction. Well, I'll do it right now. The introduction, the thesis statement's in the introduction. It doesn't matter where it is. I like it at the end of the paragraph. For me personally, but it has to be in that opening paragraph. Underline your thesis. Did I send it to you yesterday? I didn't?
Like
It's on that sheet, but,
international.
yeah, in your essay. And I always do that. It help the person reading find it. It also makes you kind of focus on it. If someone's got to search for your thesis statement, they're already mad. You want them happy. And then in that opening paragraph, for this kind of historical essay, you were trying to persuade you on you have historical evidence, put context, big picture, what's going on around. So if the question is about the Constitution, you mentioned like Shays' Rebellion and a couple things going on that way. Give big picture, context.
So the introduction's more like a facts.
Yeah. And what's going on around. So you mentioned like the Declaration of Independence. You talked a little bit about just very briefly about British taxation, British
So
policy.
kind of like what you do before you give a main point, is like you kind of like tell what's going on around.
Yeah. Which you would do that in that opening paragraph.
So is it a bad, like, a lot of English teachers have you tried to start out with like an attention grabber? Do you have to do that?
You know, I can see an attention grabber, and that, that's one of those things that sounds good if you have a lot of time to think about it. It's hard to come up with a good attention grabber. Just start out with what's going on. If something hits your mind that really works, use it, but don't worry about this. I've always thought that was hard to come up with that perfect sentence for an attention grabber. Just tell me context. Give me context. And the other thing is, if you turn over real fast that piece of paper, and I have it down there for the introduction, I believe, write the introduction and show context big picture. See, I can do that for you. We're all working together, but it doesn't hurt to write it down again. That's what the AP, the college for, is their rubric. Which, don't you hate the word rubric? You would hate it. Just thesis, it's only 6 points. Thesis, you get 1 point. Contextualization, 1 point. You get in that opening paragraph, and you got 2. If you got a good thesis, 2. You got potentially 2 out of 6. I mean, you got to write a full essay and all that to get 80 points. Yeah.
I thought they took contextualization out of
No, they took synthesis out.
synthesis.
Yeah. And you still do it like when we do a continuity change over time. That's basically synthesis. I'll talk more about that later. That actually makes it a little less stress.
So what are we arguing? Are we arguing like why something is going on?
Yeah, they're usually will give you a statement or something, and you got to take a position on it, a stand on it. Or if it says to analyze or evaluate something, to evaluate the philosophy of the Declaration of Independence, you're taking a stand on it. So you're kind of about there's good parts about it, bad parts about what it really was.
So will this be the rubric that you would rate us on?
Actually, I would put that in there, but that's not a very good grading scale to actually get a grade in class. But I'll put it on there, give you an idea what my guess would be for the College Board. I have an abbreviated version of that. But the College Board, when they do the AP exam, they don't grade like a 98 or 76. It's a totally different scale, and they grade on a curve.
So is it like the highest grade is in factor?
Basically. And for every AP exam, they let a different percentage pass. About like 60% for AP Euro, like 65 for AP Language, things like that. Only 50% for US History.
They don't let everyone pass.
No.
Like that's okay.
I mean, they come up with a score and they cut it in half. Yeah. Why did that like AP Language? Not as many students take. AP US History is by far the biggest one, and they're telling colleges, okay, we're not going to give everybody college credit because they want the money. And so the thing about it is that so we don't really know if everyone in the country did great or everyone did bad. We just don't know. It's not a proficiency exam. I'm sorry. Now some years we do like I've had over 90% pass, and some years 60% pass.
So you can do like the next person in line and not pass.
Potentially, yeah.
Oh.
And it doesn't mean you did badly. It just means that everyone did well.
Okay.
It's not a proficiency test. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is.
So hope everyone else in the country
Does
does
really-
that.
No, because it might bring everything down, and so. But yeah, actually, you better hope you do well. I guess. Okay, so.
You do
All right,
good.
so let's turn it back over here real quick. Now, we usually do a lot better nationally, but I'm just telling you, it's not a proficiency test. It's not like an A, B, C, D. It just isn't done that way. And you got to figure it's a business, so they can't let everyone pass it. Everyone does well because the colleges want money. If that happened, huh?
That's ridiculous. I would just so wrong. Like I also think timelines are dumb, but that's a totally different thing.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think time rights are as dumb, but I see that it's not a proficiency test, and that is problematic. It's kind of unfair. And it's unfair for me, you know, so I have no idea if we just did badly or we did really good, but just not, you know. So,
Right, because if you can have 100% pass, except for everyone scored less than.
yeah, you could have done it horribly, but the whole country was idiots. Yeah, you know, so that's the thing about it is I do things help you with the test, but still this is supposed to be, you know, a good history class, college level class that will look very good at your resume, all that kind of stuff, and then we hope we do well on the test. So back to this. Dogs hate chess. I don't think dogs could even play checkers. You ever seen a dog play checkers? Nope.
Have you ever seen a cat play chess?
Don't bog me down with details. All right, so did I show you this one? This is another thesis if I agreed with a statement. Did you agree with my writing? Yeah, very basic, right? Just a simple thesis, good blueprint, know exactly where I'm going. So let's look at a couple more.
Did you write this essay?
No, I just wrote the outline. But I like superior artistic skills, because we all know that's one thing dogs are good at. So here's another question, a real question. How the institute, did I show you this one yesterday?
No.
Okay, so institution of slavery leads to racism in the US. Which, by the way, that wouldn't be a bad question at all.
No.
I mean, now, one thing about it, some of these questions, you could write 1,000 pages, right? Narrow down to the 2 or 3 facts that you know the best, you feel confident about. And that's the great thing about an essay. I know essay, you have to write it all. It's work, organizing it, but write what you know. So don't have to get everything down, just pick 2 or 3 factual pieces per paragraph and focus on that. Narrow it down. I always put 3, but there's my good brainstorm list, and you notice I write things down, but what's BACON stand for? Yeah, so you don't need to write it down. Remember, the brainstorm outline, it's for you. You can use abbreviations. You don't need to write it down. It's just that it's organized. When you start getting tired, it's so easy to forget stuff. And then, very basic thesis. Where's my mouse? There we go. Slavery introduced the colonies, addressed shortage of labor, between class conflict, colony Bacon rebellion. And I got really tired, so I forgot the U, but would lead to racism. Yeah.
Do we turn in the outline too?
What's that?
Do we turn the outline?
Yeah, I'm going to collect it all.
Okay.
Use the outline of this essay.
Yeah, I'll collect it I'll collect it after you write it. Okay. And you can bring that in. You can have brainstorm outlining pieces when you walk into class and you can use it on your essay. Even though it's still test, it's kind of like an open note test in a way. So you can be all prepared and take it home, do it, but don't get too much stuff. Remember, you still have 2 to 3 because you have a limited amount of time to write. And boy, it's easy to get, we've all done this, right? Where your second paragraph's like 3 pages long. You start writing, oh, I'm out of time. Narrow it down, try to discipline yourself.
Then your third paragraph's 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're completing the end.
And there's my basic outline, all in the thesis. Good? Maybe we'll see one more?
Yes.
All right. It got faded when I made the PDF, but how did politics and mercantilism help lead to the American Revolution? I put a lot on this one. I put a lot of things down. I'm not saying you have to put them all down, but I wrote a lot here. All you need, you get about 15. You got more than enough facts, and your mind should be set. Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I did that originally, I wrote this down. I was writing out which paragraph they'd be in. I was just kind of talking about it. I don't think you necessarily need to do that. That's one of the great advantages of doing them side by side, because it's right there. And I put way too many facts. When I put this as an example, I showed all these things could be used, but you want 2 or 3. Does that make sense? And these are this PDF is on my webpage. You really only need 2 to 3, just good facts that relate to the question. Yeah, okay. So, British attempts to gain economic subservience of the colonies led to the policy of mercantilism, which the British tried to enforce after 1763, leading to rebellion. Mercantilism. That's actually, it's no E there. I must have been thinking about I know what you're thinking too, the Treaty of Grenville. 1794, right? You're all thinking that. I can tell. I can tell. I just saw your mind working. And rebellion. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Good. And then philosophy of the Declaration of Independence. Notice I used 2 different colors of legal pad. You can tell. White. Yellow. And very basic question. Jefferson writes social contract. It's on there. And the last one, of course, is, first, second person pronouns. Get out of the habit now. No more. Don't put you, don't put I. The United States is not we. And it's written on the bottom of that sheet for essay tips. Get out of that habit. All of us. Now, I mean literally us here, but we've all done that. You say, you get these rights, things like that. But for an essay, say that people get these rights. One could get these rights. The United States is not us, or we, it's the United States. Get used to writing it out. Not only does that make a stronger essay, it shows that you're not giving like an opinion, because you start just giving, I think this. It's kind of implying maybe you don't believe any facts, or you're just guessing. But also, that's one of the things the College Board really does hit. They say you can't use personal pronouns. They don't want those. But wish you have a person's grading it and go, they use us for the United States. I'm not going to give them complete understanding.
One word.
I don't know. I know what you're saying, but one's capitalized and one's not. And you got that the. It would be the us.
You never know.
And so, yeah, they could. I mean, don't give them an excuse to take a point away from my point. And grading essays, it's subjective. And they can see that and say, I'm just not going to give them a good grade. Yeah.
On the very last part of the points, what do you mean by don't put yourself in the corner with always and never?
Yeah, don't say this always happens. Say it to the point of view of, send it to the effect of, most of the time or generally this happens. Because you start saying, this always happens, that's really hard to prove.
So you're saying it's like too strong of a word?
Yeah, avoid those kind of words. It can make you so, it becomes something you can't prove. So general. And
So more general.
yeah, well, for not for your facts,
Right.
but don't use absolutes. If you're trying to prove something, it's really hard to prove, especially in a 5-paragraph essay when the clock's running. One more, you ready? What's your favorite food? Chocolate is the superior food because it tastes good. While providing energy and making people happy. Good? Well, that's what I could have put that down because Kit Kats combined with wafer to make the perfect food. No sweat, easy, fun.
Do we have an essay some point in time over the year? Like, what's your favorite food is?
Like the last essay before.
You can do that anytime you want outside here. Let me think about it now.
I was thinking your semester test.
Yeah, your semester test. I'll give you a big list of things in the question. What's your favorite food?
Yeah.
What food makes you happy? Well, everyone gets 2 finals.
What?
Yeah, you get 2 finals. But the longer of the 2, the comprehensive, very long one, I waived if you did the APs. I'm not going to make you take the AP exam, but I know how hard people work and how much stress it is to take it, so that's my reward. The other one's a lot shorter. It's a good system. I didn't make it up, but someone told me that. I thought, oh, that's a good idea. So, it'll be more than food, but I'll try to remember that. Put a food question. And your favorite food has to match what I think the best food is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
When do you figure out what you got on that AP test?
You'll find out is it in June? Is that right?
Mine's in July.
July, yeah, July. So they grade it, they have to bring all the graders into one place. I can do it. I get asked every year. They go someplace cool for a free trip, maybe I'll do it.
They do?
Hmm?
That's what they do.
Yeah, they'll take you someplace, but usually they're not places I want to
Where?
Would they
they'll
fly
have
you
your-
somewhere?
go. No. The times I could have, I went to Charleston, South Carolina, but my wife and I were at a plan to go to Europe, and So I'd rather go to Europe. What can I say? And a couple other ones, but like Knoxville was place I don't know. You know. But it was like 1 year, another one I couldn't go to was in Savannah, Georgia. Savannah's awesome. So if it goes back again, I will grade for 5 days for a free trip there and then just stay there. Things like that, you know.
Do they feel for your hotel?
Yeah.
And just fly
Well,
out there?
yeah, but.
What's it? Yeah.
Where do they get that money?
You pay.
You pay to take.
Oh, right.
College work makes a lot of money off of you people. But then again, if you get the college credit,
You make a lot of money.
and it looks great, right, and all that stuff. All right, your closing paragraph. Your closing paragraph. That's the least important of the paragraphs in the timed essay. If you're running out of time, make sure you get the body paragraphs first. If you got to skimp on one, skimp on that. And get it done, obviously, if you can. I'm not saying I don't have to write the last paragraph, but if you have to skip one or skimp on one, and that one, that's a good time to. I always want to say restating the thesis always sounds a little awkward to me, but you know, maybe 1 or 2 sentences proving how you show the thesis.
So what's a good score?
Well, let me finish. Showing how you score the thesis and maybe a little bit of context. Kind of finish it up there with a little context. Context is such a good thing. It gives you an opportunity to show off too. If you know something, you put a few sentences there. In fact, you can do it in that first paragraph. The person reading it's like, wow, this person knows something. And they got a good thesis. I like them. 6. Maybe not, but you wanted them to think that way. It's a score out of 6. You get 4 out of 6 on your essay. You've done very, very well.
Really?
5 out of 6 is excellent. 6 is, you know.
Really?
It's not 90, 80, 76. Just to get that out of your head.
So how
You're gonna miss some multiple choice. Don't worry about it. This is the way it is. How I grade it, I'll give you that score out of 6, but I'm gonna grade it, you know, based upon. I'm gonna do 90, 80, 76. I'm looking for your information that you're gonna rush me out fast. So I'll grade it on that. So me, I will give you a score on those. Because you know, 6 points it doesn't work for grades. All right.
Well, you can like make it so that it's like
Yeah.
it's worth like each point's worth.
All right. So, any questions on the questions? Pick one of them. It mentions turning point. Question number 3 talks about turning point. What I'm talking about there is, did something, it's related to the Declaration of Independence, so we're talking about ideas of government, ideas about rights and liberty. What were the ideas like before, and then the Revolution or the Declaration of Independence, how did it change after, like the Constitution of the United States? How did it change? Or you could say it didn't change, it's all the same. No turning point, or was it turning point? And I'll give you a hint, it was. It was a turning point. We're talking about how the ideas about we're going to be, you know, to be independent and liberty. And that could be examples like British policies, change like that. A little bit about the Declaration, and then afterwards with the Constitution. Yeah.
Talking about going from like one, like being free, or the English to be free America, the United States.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a very good way to look at it. And they weren't calling themselves Americans quite yet, but yeah. All right. So, any questions? I know essay, you know, I mean, you got to work, got to do everything in there, the time's running. But just don't forget, you get it right when you know. And just keep that in mind. I can show you what I know. Yes.
So is this essay test instead of like a multiple choice test?
In addition to.
Oh, cool.
Especially since I'm letting you have your outline with you. But I'll give you, you know, I'll reward you immensely if you do well. With a grade. No kidding. It's crazy. All right. Can't worry about it like that. There's rules. One more thing really quick we have to get in your notes before we get to the rap battle, and that's my R, you see? Federalism. Better?
Are we live?
Okay, we're live. We're broadcasting coast to coast, people.
Actually, I don't really want
I didn't say what coast. So, federalism. So let's go take your notes out, and I'll kind of do a little review as we go on. What I want. Let's see if this works on there. This was a gift, mind you. See it? I'm bringing it out a little bit too early. You're not quite worthy, but if we pick up the right velocity, it will take off. It's not very. That's disappointing. Here's my favorite part about this kid's toy. It's for collectors only, not for children. I can't remember who gave this to me, but this is pretty cool. You got to admit. He doesn't want to quit. There's no off switch for this. Yes, and we'll pull out the remote control around something. So, federalism. You've heard the term federal government. Well, this is created by the Constitution. And what it means is we basically have a two-tiered government. Two-tiered government. We have a national government. We call it the federal government from the term federalism. Federalism means tiered. And then below it, state. And this government is supreme. They literally call it, remember the necessary and proper clause? It's called the supremacy clause. The government is supreme. And so, the national government has powers. But powers the national government doesn't have, the state has. But there's a big hole in that. Those implied powers. Remember the necessary and proper clause. With those implied powers, the national government has immense power. And that is going to be, this will be one of the biggest political fights in American history through today. Who has more power? Federal government, state government. And so, that's where we get federalism. And that's, for example, we get to the Civil War. The United States in the Civil War would also be the North. We hear it called the Union, or also the Federals, because it's fighting for the United States government. In the South, the Confederacy, or whatever you want to get to. So, that is the federal system. And so most of your interaction with any government is state, or there's federalism within the state, so it's city government. You probably have very limited interaction with federal government at all. Maybe you fly, I guess TSA, get a passport, that's federal. That's about it. It's hardly any federal interaction. Oh yeah, well, post office comes okay.
Money.
That's a good point. Money would be one, but you're not really interacting with an agency. You're just holding the money. So, what we have to do is we have to ratify this amendment. 9 states. What 3 states had to ratify this to get it passed?
Virginia. New York and Pennsylvania.
And Pennsylvania. They had to ratify the biggies. And so, what we have are the pro-Constitution, I left this up here, the Federalists. Thus from the term federalism, right? And the anti-Constitution party, or very cleverly called the Anti-Federalist. Who has the advantage in this fight? Yeah, because they have one thing they're pushing for. They can disagree on a lot of stuff, but all they care about is the Constitution. The Anti-Federalists have many different reasons for going against the Constitution. So they're going to be divided. Gives them a huge advantage. Huge advantage. Mostly urban, wealthier, elite. Men like Washington, John Adams, and of course, Madison, Hamilton, and Jay. Federalists, rural, smaller farmers, didn't have a lot of voice in the government. Patrick Henry was an anti-federalist. Sam Adams, anti-federalist. And let's go over their views really quick, because then we'll get to the Federalist number 10. The Federalists looked at it as like, we got to kick this box but not fall. And
I'd say good metaphor.
it's good reason you get a constitution. Strong national government. Strong central government. We need it after the disaster of the Articles, they would say. We couldn't even put down a rebellion, let alone do the basic functions of government. And